Hey folks, Tracy here with Scrappy's Rustics. Oh my goodness, y'all, I am so proud of this piece. The end result is amazing. There are a lot of firsts and unknowns for me within this, and it came through. The print is from Primitives by Kathy. The snowmen there I wanted to use as feet are from the Hobby Lobby, $4.49. I believe that said, and you can get it half off for Christmas. The Wooden Merry Christmas is also from Hobby Lobby. It comes with a bunch of eye hooks if you wanted to make like a banner. And the round is also from Hobby Lobby. I forget the price of that one. We are going to stain it with DIY Dark and Decrepit, and I just love this stuff. It's all natural. It dries. It's beautiful color. It dries fast. No odor, none of that stuff. So I just love the color of it too. And like I said, it dries so fast. You know how stain is, kind of stinks. So y'all, let's just get this out of the way before we go any farther. I am 51 years old. I've been using resin for quite some time. It is my preference not to wear gloves. I do work in a well-ventilated area. However, the fast cast resin does not smell, but it still is a chemical, and I understand that. To each their own. If you want to use resin and wear gloves, then by golly, you should do that. But it's my preference not to wear them, so I don't need anyone to tell me that I should be wearing them. So I stained all of the wood parts in the Dark and Decrepit. If you noticed, I did the back because it kind of bled through on the back, and I wanted it to look nice. This piece is pretty cool. So the most difficult part for me with this was making this circle a circle. So I had this giant embroidery hoop, and the one inside was a little short. It wasn't exactly round. So the outer one was pretty close. So that's what I ended up using, and I used a wet brush and fussy. Y'all, this was a real pain. I even tried to, I used the cover piece because you couldn't really use it because it had a big logo on it. I even tried to like cram that in there and push it down. It just didn't come out right. So I put 2 coats of dishwasher safe Mod Podge, just thick. It's all I had. I'm going to use the iron method. So, whatever you use, whatever. Don't use your expensive stuff. And as I was staining, I kind of hit a few spots in the middle with the stain, and it wouldn't wipe off. So I just put some white paint over it. So like I said, the hardest part, I needed this circle to be perfect, like as perfect as I could get it, because there was no room for, to really put anything in the side for the end result of what we're going to do with this piece. Normally if you're just going to Mod Podge it down, you could put some rope in there or jute or anything like that. So like I said, I put 2 healthy coats of Mod Podge on there. I dried it, and then I used the iron method. That was parchment paper and my little iron. Just keep going over it until it's, good and down. I gave it 2 coats of matte clear. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be pouring resin, and I have never poured resin over paper. So I was not sure if this was going to work, or I just didn't know. Like I said, a lot of firsts for me, a lot of unknowns, but ultimately I conquered, and it came out pretty awesome. I've never used so much resin in my life. Actually, I misspoke. I said it was fast cast resin and it doesn't have an odor. That's not true. It was clear resin, and it does have an odor. I apologize. I never use clear resin, and y'all, I used a lot of it, like a lot. I did not expect to use that much. So I went around the entire perimeter with Pentart Ultra Matte, just because I was thinking resin likes to seep, anywhere it can. So I put 1 whole coat all the way around, and it's matte, so you can't see it. I let that dry, and I did another coat because, like I said, I've never poured resin over paper, really over anything that wasn't like a hard surface. So I'm using Pentart Heavy Body Gel to adhere all my letters, and I let these dry overnight. Pentart Heavy Body Gel can be used, you can tint it, stain it, turn it different colors. You can use it for a raised stencil effect. It's great for adhering metal to metal. You all know how hard metal, trying to hot glue metal to anything is, not an easy task. This stuff is great. Does take a little longer to set up. It's you can't really move. It depends on the situation. But in 10 minutes, if it's something like this, I would let it dry. Just depends what it is and how heavy the object is on how long you should let it dry. So like I said, I let this go overnight. And it can also be used in shallow fondant molds. And after it dries, it remains flexible and pliable. And these handles are from Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby. They're very heavy. I had already taken my camera down and I was like, dang, I should, it hasn't dried overnight yet. I said I should put these on and let them dry overnight with the letter. So that's what I did. So I took the screws out and I used heavy body gel to put the handles on, and they are locked and loaded and they are on there nicely. Y'all, this piece is just crazy. So here it is, the amazing clear resin. I opened the bottom because the bottom of the box blew out. There's a side A and a side B. 50-50 is the mixture. And with the clear, you must ensure, of course, depending on how much you mix, you have to mix this stuff. If you mix any substantial amount, 3 minutes. Like, you've got to mix it 3 minutes. I made the mistake on my last project because I'm so used to using fast cast. It's really within less than a minute to stir it and it's ready to rock. I didn't stir it long enough and it never dried. It stayed super sticky. From a distance it looked like it was fine, but you couldn't touch it because it was sticky, and ultimately had to throw it in the garbage. So be sure to mix the clear part A and part B together for a good 3 minutes. You're also going to get air bubbles. There are different types of resin where you can get less bubbles. You know, there's actually a ton of different resins you can choose from. That's your preference, whatever you have available to you. There are ways to help minimize the bubbles, which is let your resin sit for a few minutes after you stir it. You do have about 30 minutes of open time with the clear. The fast cast, you have like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But you, like I said, you have more open time, but you only have about 30 minutes. The more you make, the faster it sets up. The bigger your pour, the faster it sets up, but the clear is still going to take some time. So here I'm not sure. I've never done anything like this in my life. I'm just like, all right, it's all or nothing. So I thought it was kind of funny that that's all the resin that I mixed to begin with, but I was like, let me just do it and see how it reacts, because I didn't know, did I have enough spray sealer on the paper? Is it going to curl up? Is it going to, go wet right through it? I just did not know what to expect. I've never done a project this large either. And y'all, I don't know how much resin I went through, but I want to say almost probably 3 boxes, like 3 boxes. And I did this project over a day or 2, maybe even 3, just because of the resin drying. Yeah, it was probably 3, maybe even 4 days, actually, now that I think about it. In hindsight, I should have just poured the resin in one corner and let it flow and do its thing. My table is not exactly level. I did pound my cup, like I just pounded that. I did pound my cup on the table before pouring, and you can actually see the air bubbles coming out. I've seen people use a lighter, so I thought, well, what the heck, let me try that. I did not care for that method very well, and it did have a smell that I was not very fond of. So it did work, though. It did work. I have seen where people have actually set their trays on fire. So if you do this, you're on your own. You're on your own, and just use your common sense. I ultimately end up using my heat tool for the bubbles for the rest of this project. Again, I'm 51 years old. I know I should be. It's recommended that you wear a ventilator, or not a ventilator, but not a ventilator, a face mask and rubber gloves. My preference is not to use them. If you're going to use resin and you want to wear gloves, then you should. Whatever, to each their own, and whatever makes you happy and makes you feel comfortable is what you should do. So you can see the resin hasn't even closed in on his nose, but as I dry it and I rotate it, it's starting to close in. Now these letters are pretty deep. They're probably like an inch maybe. I don't know. I didn't even measure this whole piece. But it's pretty deep with resin, and it's got some weight to it. So, and at one point, I think I poured 5 whole times. I don't show you all 5 times just because, I didn't realize how much it was going to take. I poured, so I would pour it, I would take the bubbles out, and then pour it. The third pour, some of the resin was actually kind of set up, and I dumped it fairly fast. And where his eyes and eyebrows were, it kind of dried like really wonky and had like a wave in it. And I was like, oh no, I ruined it. But I let it fully dry, and I poured a substantial, I think it was my last pour, over the top. And that fixed the problem. Thank goodness, because I was pretty bummed. Now, these are the snowmen, and we've stained them with the DIY Dark and Decrepit. They looked really, really good upside down, but I thought, you know what? This is a Santa piece. They are snowmen. It makes sense to have them standing straight up, you know, looking normal, but they did really look good the opposite way. Y'all, these make actually really great feet. We normally put 2 or 3 or 4 feet on, and I thought, well, why not put 6? Like, it's a pretty big piece. This would be cool. I left the hanger on too because, you know, down the road, if you want to hang it on the wall, you can knock the feet off and hang it on the wall. But this could be a riser, a tray, a centerpiece on your kitchen. No resin is food safe, so you always want to put something down before you know, put your cookies on there or whatever. I'm using heavy body gel again, and I let that set up. And I let that sit overnight so it's nice and hard. And here's the drum roll before I flip it over to see what it looks like. Y'all, I'm so proud of this piece. Like, it's just big. I learned a lot. Look how cool the snowmen look. You know, in a big piece, especially like this, with a top and a bottom, it's really hard to get, you know, good pictures and good video. So hopefully you can see what's going on here. And I just love the color of this DIY Dark and Decrepit. But look how nice it came out. There are a few air bubbles around the wood letters, but nothing terrible. Nothing terrible considering it was my first go. And y'all, you just gotta keep pushing forward and keep doing it and know you can do it. And the worst can happen is gonna go in the garbage. I hope this inspired you to maybe try one of these for yourself. If you like my style, I'd love for you to smash that subscription button and hit the little bell for notifications when you, and also visit my website at scrappyrustics.com. We have a lot of amazing items there, a lot of stuff you can't get in your normal Hobby Lobby, you know, Walmart, that kind of thing. So boutique style decoupage papers and rusty things. I'm an IOD stockist and Wise Owl and just good stuff, y'all. Look how cool this looks. It doesn't even fit on my bench there, so it's just kind of hanging in the air. But I love these snowman as feet. I got to get some more because I will definitely use them in the future, and they look great flipped the other way. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Again, the prints are from Primitive by Kathy's. Thank you so much for watching.